program. Thank you very much to our host, Minister Creasy, the Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, House Chairs, Whips and Members of Parliament, Deputy Minister of COCTA, Mr. Pax Tau, South Africa's Ambassador to the UAE, His Excellency Mr. Saad Kachelia, the Consul General of the Republic of South Africa in Dubai, His Excellency Mr. Tsepo Libona, Presidential Climate Commissioners, the CEO, and senior officials, all CEOs present, South African delegations, our esteemed guests, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Peter Mbelengwa. I'm the head of comms. I will be the program director for tonight. I'm also the head of media for the SA delegation here at COP28. So if you want to be on TV, you better stick with me. Thank you very much. Without much ado, I will now invite His Excellency Mr. Saad Kachelia, our ambassador here in the UAE, to come and do the welcome remarks. Ambassador?
Good evening, maybe to use the President's words, fellow South Africans. Thank you very much, Minister Creasy, for allowing me the opportunity to welcome all South Africans who are here. Peter Mbelengwa, whom I know from Madumbicha when he was a young man in Venda, said to me, you have 5 minutes, but because you're old, you can speak for a little while longer. Thanks, Peter. He was a young gentleman when I first met him. It's nice to see him, and welcome to you, Peter. All protocol observed in diplomatic speak. You know, you are in a part of the world which is wholly reliant on fossil fuels for all the glitz and the glamour that you see in this part of the world. A country like Saudi Arabia has made profit of about $165 billion last year from its oil sales. They pump about 12 million barrels of oil a day and can do even more than that. But interesting, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, you are in a part of the world where fossil fuels, oil and gas are important for their existence, but also the host country is beginning to emphasize the importance of renewable energy. Now, I say this because 2 years ago, around this time, we had a pavilion like this, almost in the same place, when South Africa was at Expo 2020. And we occupied, as South Africans, an area, or we were housed in an area called the Opportunity Pavilions. And the CG and myself at that time said, one of the things we need to tell people who visit our pavilions is think opportunity, think South Africa. Think South Africa, think opportunity. And I think with this COP, that narrative hasn't changed. The playing field may have changed a little. When President Ramaphosa came in and brought the delegation led by the astuteness of Minister Creasy and a formidable team whom I've had the opportunity to interact with, he has brought a South African team supported by professionals, by expertise, that is saying to the world that we accept issues of climate change. We know the dangers of climate change, but as South Africans, we are ready. We have a plan. We have brought a plan. We have brought people who are able to say to the world, we're prepared to share with you knowledge. At the same time, we have got a plan to deal with climate change, but we will not change our narrative about being a country of opportunity, a country where you can still come into, a country where you will not disturb our developmental path or our developmental goals. South Africa is ready with its plan for climate change, but it needs support. It operates in a world where it is not easy, where it is very difficult. I've seen minister and her negotiators horse trading. I've listened to some of the discussions today. It is going to be a difficult ride. It is not going to be easy in this part of the world. But for us, we need to take advantage of the host country here, who is very prepared in my discussions with them to assist and to come to South Africa and to other parts of Africa, bringing renewable energy assistance to us. I visited an area here where I saw over 3 million solar panels. I went to a little city where they run completely on solar energy, but they are very keen. And I think South Africa is a country which they are interested in, they have an appetite for, and we are ready, Minister Creasy. I can see that, and we are a point of interest, you know, for many people. I have seen in a walk that I took with Minister Creasy and Minister Pandor from one of the halls to the dining room, and it took us, a walk that takes 5 minutes, took us about 20 minutes. Because everybody stops, Minister Creasy, and wants to have a discussion about global stocktake, wants to talk about our jet. They want to talk about damage and loss and damage. So these things, and it is so refreshing that people are interested and excited about South Africa. They stop us. So, you know, even when we sat down to eat, there were people who want to take photographs. But this is good. This is refreshing. This is so good for us as diplomats to see the interest that there is in South Africa. Minister, I want to welcome you. I want to say that COP, South Africa has it. We are saying that there needs to be financial correction in this world. The financial institutions need to be transformed. The banking institutions need to be transformed. It is so nice to see that the National Business Initiative has taken up the call that our President Mandela made 28, 29 years ago, that business needs to get involved in the developmental agenda of South Africa, in transformation. And to see Dr. Subramani, it's Dr., hey? It's anyway, it's on here, so I'm going to stick to Dr. She 11 others. Ah, okay. And for business to be involved and business to contribute to sustainable growth in South Africa is important. We need to make sure that we have egalitarian, sustainable communities that operate in a world where there is climate justice. South Africa, I must say, when I was listening to Mr. Patel presenting the PCC, the presenter there said South Africa is walking the talk. At least I can use that line when I talk to my interlocutors here in the UAE, that South Africa walks the talk. Minister, welcome. Welcome to everybody. There's great opportunities for South Africa. We have it. I think we have the formula, and we will make sure, like we did during Expo, where I think the spin-offs are still coming through, the business people who go into South Africa wanting to do business, looking at South Africa. I think similarly with COP, Minister, you have brought brand South Africa to the UAE. We welcome that as our two missions, CG Lebona. We have something to latch onto. We have something to talk about. And I think we have got something that will engage the UAE more strongly with South Africa. We have something to give not only to the UAE, but also to the rest of the world. Thank you very, very much. Welcome, Minister Creasy. Welcome, colleagues. Welcome, ministers. Welcome, members of parliament who are here. We can chat a little bit more about other things if you want. I am available until Minister Creasy's plane takes off in the UAE. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I will now invite Ms. Nkosazana Betani from the Case Kama Art Project to come and introduce the Umlibo project.
Good evening, everybody. Mandibulise kubo bonke abantu asendlini ukuze ndizive right ufuna ngiqale ke lasekhaya ilwimi. Ndibulise kwindlu yonke ngokukhulu ukuzithoba. With a big honor, I'm greeting you all. I am Nkosazana Veronica Betani. I'm from South Africa, Hamburg. At first, I want to, when I open my mouth, I want to first thank WWF together with governing of funders to make this opportunity of me being standing here in Dubai today. On top of that, we are bringing to the world this marvelous piece of artwork of which WWF and governing of Flanders have been with us, the women of Case Kama Art Project, that are busy with the needlework. If you look at it, some people, they say it's a painting. No, it needs a patience. You have to sit down with a needle every day. It took us 6 months to produce this piece. And also is talking about, it is really talking to the world about climate change. We lost our loved ones through climate change. We don't have houses. As I'm standing here, when I left home, I have to leave a basin on top of my bed because I'm afraid if it's raining, my bed will be ruined. So on that point, we, with the WWF, have sat down with the scientists, and they give us more knowledge about the climate change. So we saw the rivers, we saw the bridges. Some people, they never cross when there are huge thunders and rains. So standing here, I'm pleading to the world. This is the piece that is talking to us. Talking about reaching 1.5 degrees, we have to work together. We have to hold hands. We have to follow the name Umlibo. We have to be the vine that is going through the world, holding hands, working together to make it happen to reach that 1.5. It's not on someone's hands, it's all of us to put hands together and work especially the women that are left back home. Maqobokazana, wathinta abafazi, wathinta impokoto. Sithi ke abo engqushwa ehambeke. Siphethe lo msebenzi wezandla. Akho nto sitya ngayo, sitya ngalo msebenzi wezandla. Ukuze abantwana bethu baye esikolweni bancedwa ngulo msebenzi wezandla. Singabo mama banjalo. We are this group of women that is based right in Hamburg. The only way of earning life, on earning the living or educating our kids is because of the artwork, the needlework that we are doing in Hamburg. Sinayo QR code at the entrance there. If ever you want to view more about Umlibo and the people that they do and their stories, telling their stories, you have to scan that and see the video that is going viral to the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mamu Betani. It was very informative. Colleagues, just to confirm that you are at the right place, we are at the launch of the SA Pavilion. And with that said, I will now invite Ms. Shamila Subramani to come and talk to the collaboration between business and government.
Thank you, Mr. Program Director. Ooh, that's good. Welcome, one and all, Honorable Minister Creasy, Ambassador Kachalia, esteemed members of the delegation, and honored guests. All protocol respectfully observed. I am new to this, so please forgive any indiscretions. It's such a pleasure to stand before you today as the relatively new CEO of the National Business Initiative. I'd like to reflect on the importance of collaboration between business and government. Business is an integral part of society as an employer, as a taxpayer, and as a provider of basic services even in some areas. But it also needs to ensure that its strategies and actions are supportive of maintaining its social license to operate. Over the last few days, we've seen so much emphasis on transparency and accountability. This is a collective effort and requires a whole of society approach. Government helps create the enabling environment, provides the guardrails for social protection, and businesses can then do what they need to do to grow and transition to take everyone along. We had just earlier on today, later this afternoon, heard about the climate finance landscape, and we can see that private sector is currently the bulk of the contribution. This is, of course, more costly capital and predates the JETP, though, by and large. With the right deployment of the concessional finance and the grant finance, the possibilities, I believe, are exciting for how we can responsibly reorientate our entire economy, hopefully into a future that makes us globally competitive, locally relevant, and able to enable a just transition in the way we've been discussing over the last few days. This pavilion is made possible through the forward thinking of the DFFE. Thank you, Minister Creasy. In partnering with business via the National Business Initiative, it made it possible for a business group to be part of the delegation with coveted Blue Zone access, I might add, and the opportunity to learn, to showcase their own efforts, forge relationships that we know happen, very rarely happen back home. It creates a team spirit that we desperately need as a country. Just when the clock was ticking on 6 and I saw the people streaming in and you're like, this is South Africa. This is the South Africa we know. This is the South Africa we need. This is the spirit we need to be able to get to the transition we need over the line. It is all of us. It is everyone of our responsibility to do this together. I would absolutely like to commend Minister Creasy, the government of South Africa, on the forward thinking, on the leadership that they have shown. Let us bank the gains of the leadership we've shown over the last few COPs. We were the first to come with the JETP. We had our investment plan last year and we have our implementation plan this year. How many countries can count that level of progress? But now is where action needs to take over. The rubber hits the road as we now have to work together to implement this, to be able to give our country and our economy the chance to overcome the precipice that we know we find ourselves at. It is only us that can work together to change, to reorientate our economy, and to ensure prosperity for all. Thank you for joining us today. I would like to make a special thank you to the sponsors who you see up on the board there who have made this possible, and a special shout out to our co-sponsors for this evening, Brand SA and the DFFE, for making this event possible and for making the spirit happen in this pavilion. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful time, and let's make this work together.
Thank you very much, Ms. Subramani. I thought you also mentioned that we are the rugby champions when you were when you were listing the implementation plan as well as the climate change bill. Colleagues, allow me to invite Her Excellency Minister Barbara Creasy to come and officially launch the SA Pavilion at COP28 2023.
Thank you very much, Peter. Allow me to acknowledge honourable members of the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces, led by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Ms. Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. Let me also acknowledge my fellow ministers, Minister Mantashe, Deputy Minister Tau, and Deputy Minister Chwete. Let me acknowledge the Premier of Mpumalanga, Ms. Refilwe Msweni Tsipane, South Africa's Ambassador to the United Arab Emirates, His Excellency, Mr. Saad Kachalia, the Consul General of the Republic of South Africa to Dubai, His Excellency Tsepo Lebona, MECs and mayors present, members of the Presidential Climate Commission and the CEO, Mr. Crispin Olva, as well as senior officials of the Climate Commission, the CEO of the National Business Initiative. Sorry, Shamila, you've got a downgrade now, no more a doctor, Ms. Shamila Subramani. All of the CEOs and business delegates present, esteemed guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening once again. Allow me to convey our warm greetings on behalf of the Government of South Africa and Team Climate to everybody present here at the launch of the South African Pavilion in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. This launch marks an important milestone in the journey that started at COP23 in Bonn, Germany. The South Africa Pavilion showcases the mutually beneficial relationship that exists between government and the National Business Initiative in the fight against climate change. Our partnership aims to ensure that as we consider climate risks, we also focus on economic opportunities that can boost resilience, ensure energy security, create jobs and shared prosperity, and promote infrastructure development. His Excellency President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa said when he delivered the national statement here at COP28 that we cannot lose momentum in our fight against climate change. He emphasized that climate action is key to South Africa's sustainable development agenda and that no developing economy should be forced to choose between meeting its sustainable development goals and building climate resilience. Accordingly, our President emphasized the need for new, predictable, at-scale, and appropriate public finance to help developing country economies build climate resilience. He also advocated for the reform of the global financial system so that financial flows can reach the global south in a manner that does not compound indebtedness and does not place an unfair burden of debt on future generations. African countries are amongst the most vulnerable to climate change impacts, and like all developing countries, are least responsible for the climate catastrophe. Accordingly, South Africa is committed to contributing our best efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions commensurate with the global temperature goal. However, as we all know, science tells us that even in a 1.5 degree world, extreme weather events will impact lives, livelihoods, food and water security, human and animal health, and the built environment. Hence, we must all adapt to the inevitable impacts of climate change. Accordingly, our country joins the rest of the African continent in advocating for COP28 to deliver a global goal on adaptation with clear targets and indicators. Ladies and gentlemen, as many of you know, in October this year, our National Assembly adopted our climate change bill. Furthermore, in November, our cabinet approved the implementation plan for the country's just energy transition. This plan focuses on critical areas for investment, including electricity infrastructure, new energy vehicles, green hydrogen, skills, municipal distribution systems, and interventions directed together with communities who are most affected by the energy transition. There are also promising developments underway in our country to harness the potential of green hydrogen and to beneficiate critical minerals and rare earths to support the development and drive for a green transition. This year, we have also extended an invitation, as you have heard, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kaskama Umliba community group, who have created this wonderful tapestry that shows the impacts on their lives of climate change, and on this side, their vision for a climate-resilient community. Let me salute Ms. Nkosazana Veronica Betani and her fellow community members for their fight against climate change and their commitment to doing all they can to build a better life in this context. On Monday, we updated the South African delegation on the negotiations. Issues have progressed since then, and tonight our negotiators are locked in meetings to finalize various agenda items that they will put before the high-level ministerial segment on Friday. And we will have the somewhat unenviable task of trying to facilitate outcomes to what has not been resolved in the technical negotiations. Let me conclude, ladies and gentlemen, by thanking the National Business Initiative, all of our sponsors, and the hard-working team that has put together the inspiring and interesting program that is hosted each and every day by this pavilion. I'm sure you all agree they deserve a round of applause. Some of you will be leaving at the end of the week. Those of us in the political process will be staying until Wednesday. Let's give it our best shot. Let's work together to promote our country, to promote our just energy implementation plan, and to promote the good work that we are doing to build climate resilience and a better future for our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Barbara Creasy. We have come to the end of our formal program, ladies and gentlemen. We'll now invite you for refreshments. Sustainable drinks. Yes. we couldn't stand between you and refreshments. Thank you very much to all the speakers on the program, Your Excellency. Ambassador Kachalia, thank you very much. Ms. Betani, thank you very much. The self-proclaimed doctor, Ms. Subramani, thank you very much. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Members of the media are requested to set up outside.